All right, y'all. Welcome back to CFB Enthusiasts, where we bleed college football. My name is Jimmy. Today, I do have the first ever guest for CFB Enthusiasts, Momo Sanogo. Momo, how you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling great. Excited to be the first guest.
Yes, sir. Momo is a linebacker for the DC Defenders in the UFL, y'all. This is your second year with them, correct?
Right.
Right? And he played in college for Ole Miss, played for Louisville, so he's trying to make his way out here. Momo, let me ask you this, man. How was that? How was that first game? Getting game one out of the way
It was ecstatic, man. We hosted the champs from last year and went to work. So started off the season 1-0. Excited about that. Excited to go brick by brick and see what we can get this year.
for sure, man. How you feeling about the team this year? You know, you got your former college teammate, and you're in the same recruiting class as him, Jordan Ta'amu, as your quarterback. Once again, you know how y'all feeling this year?
We're feeling good, man. We're feeling great, actually. Defense is put together. We've got some guys in the back end that allow us to do a lot of cool things up front. And then the offense is stacked with some receivers. So
Right,
they always got a way to get the chains moving. So it's one of those years where it's like, let's not get in our own way. You know what I mean?
right. Talk about your overall experience in the UFL so far and the opportunity that it's provided for players like yourself who are still trying to make way and try to get to the big leagues, which I'm sure that's most of y'all's goal, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolute blessing to be able to, chips don't fall where you want them to. You're not at a place in the NFL, but then this opportunity arises, and you're able to continue to put forth your best foot forward and see if you can get picked up somewhere against some outstanding competition. And it's interesting as it continues to progress. The level of competition just continues to rise. Cream keeps coming to the top, and you get a lot of surprise from guys that were just with the team last year on P Squad the entire year, and then they think it's gonna be easy. They might have been elevated for like 3 or 4 games last year, and then they
Right.
come here and they get cut, and they're confused. But it's like, hey man, this is like it's a full of a bunch of people in the same position as you. Everybody is good. Everybody at least thinks they should be there. So it's like you got to go prove it every day.
Tell the people about how competitive and just how good the players in the UFL are because people probably have the conception of, oh, if they're not in the NFL, then they're not good, or if they're not in the NFL, then there's all these issues and flaws they might have. But in reality, it's like, hey man, on those NFL teams, there's 53 spots and that's it.
I mean, perfect example. Got a guy played with us last year, B. Smith. B. Smith was with the Cowboys for I think 2 years. Never really got to see some action. Was just trailing by P Squad. They weren't utilizing him in the right way. Came to the DC Defenders, balls out, and now he's with the Jets, and they love him, and they're not letting him go anytime soon.
Yeah.
They utilize him in the way he needs to be utilized. So it's just situationally things might not work out in certain situations, but when you're able to showcase that on a different platform and go and you put yourself back in that light and you really get picked up. It's not whether or not you were good enough to be there, it's whether or not you're in the right place. Sometimes guys just don't end up in the right place. This is an opportunity to show what place you belong in.
So it's more so fit and opportunity, you think, right?
For a lot of guys, that's the case. I mean, for some
Okay.
guys, they may have gotten in trouble or they may have just never
Right.
gotten seen by the right people. Everybody's situation is different, but from broad spectrum, that's typically the case.
Take us back on memory lane, man. You were born in Michigan,
Born
then
and
moved
raised
down
there.
to Texas, right? And then you were in DFW, grew up there, played high school ball there. What got you into football? First off,
I mean, as a fellow African, like the way is soccer. And
yeah.
it just so happened I wasn't no good. I have an older brother that played D1 soccer at Colgate in upstate New York, and then my sister currently plays at Lehigh in upstate Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And they're both full ride soccer players. I didn't make the cut. My dad said, it's time to focus on school. But along
Right.
the way, around middle school, I found football, and I just fell in love with it. Started off playing O line. I was a chunky guy, And then as I started like slimming up, started growing in my linebacker body, and it just the hard work, dedication took off once I found a love for the game.
Talking to a fellow African, you did mention obviously soccer was a big thing. My dad was, it still is a huge soccer fan. He'll watch that over anything. I'm like, Dad, NBA Finals is on. He'd be like, I'm watching soccer right now. I'm like,
I don't
okay,
even mean to interrupt you, but I just got to remind you real quick who won the African Cup of Nations?
who was it?
Cote
I'm trying to
d'Ivoire.
remember. It
Cote
was
d'Ivoire. It was. It
talk your
was.
talk, talk your
I just got
talk.
to say it was us. Nah.
Oh man, but talking to a fellow African, academics is and always will be, first and foremost. And I see here that you are a four-time SEC academic honor roll um, guy. So speak to how your upbringing was as far as like, okay, academics is number one priority no matter what else is going on.
That was always first. And that just made me think about I haven't I don't think I've told anybody this story in like since I was in high school, but when I was in 8th grade, so that was right when I had moved. So I actually was living in Austin. My whole family was living in Austin, but when we moved to Dallas was right before 8th grade.
Okay.
And the coaches found out like I had moved in, they were like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's gonna be great on the football team." Well, I was like advanced in school, and I had to get bussed up to the high school for classes in the mornings to take them at the high school because they weren't offered in middle schools. And the coach was talking to my dad about like maybe just don't let him not take a math class this year, like or let him not do this so that he can. My dad was like, "Look, school's first. I don't care. He don't have to play football. Like
Mm-hmm.
I could care less if he plays football. He's got to get his education. So you
Yep.
figure it out if you want him to play. Otherwise, no." So what I ended up doing was practicing in the afternoon, like after school with the 7th graders, and obviously I'm too big. Like I wasn't able to practice with them. So I literally just stood on the sideline and actually kicked field goals. I was like my team's field goal kicker because that's all I could
What?
do during practice. And so I was like, I play soccer and I'm
A little
bored, so like, let me
background.
just kick. So let me just kick. So they were like, all right, cool. Like you just practice kicking all day and you can kick and then play running back and linebacker in the game.
That's a unique experience, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's
I just
crazy.
thought about that, but that was crazy.
So you played at Plano West. Were you there all 4 years?
All 4 years. Now, funny enough, a starting linebacker with me, Anthony Hines, he went to Plano East.
Oh wow.
We're crosstown rivals.
Y'all was
Same
rivals.
class, same year, everything.
Wow, okay. Did y'all know of each other then?
Yeah, we were close. We traveled around visiting schools together and stuff.
Wow, small world, huh?
Yeah,
It's
crazy
funny how
small.
life works.
Always comes full circle.
So you talk about you played in high school, you played against probably the most decorated high school athlete ever
I know
in
you.
Kyler Murray up in Allen. He never lost a game. I think it was 42-0, three state titles as a starter. Talk about that experience playing someone of that magnitude.
I always got to toot my own horn and say I picked him off my sophomore year. But that guy that guy there was a specimen, man. And um, I had the number one running back in the nation on my team, and so that game, every time we matched up against each other, it was crazy games. He was doing inhumane type of stuff. It was actually like the game we played them my senior year where he got invited to the Under Armour All American game. But being able to see an athlete like that, and I got to train with him outside of like just playing against each other. But his dad,
Okay.
Kevin Murray, was a quarterback training coach, and I would go catch for some of his quarterbacks trying to stay in shape and just watching his work ethic. Like that guy is a true competitor, to just straight up competitor.
What makes him so hard to play against? He obviously has great legs on him, fast as hell. Obviously, he's a great passer. What is it? The combination of the two that just makes him so difficult, or what do
I
you
mean,
think played him firsthand?
I think it goes beyond that. Like he's just everything about what he does is unconventional. His pocket movement is unconventional, but it's fast, it's quick. He will run out of the pocket, and he has blazing speed, and so you're gonna break that. But no, he's gonna throw it. He scrambles to throw the ball. He's
Right.
giving you different arm angles. You think because he's short, you can just bat the ball down. He's gonna switch up his arm angle to make sure the ball still gets there, and it's a dot every time. And he continues to add layers to his game because he knew he was at a disadvantage being shorter, smaller than other guys. So he built his competitive advantage to be unconventional. You can't use his size as a disadvantage to him.
Wow. So fast forwarding through your recruiting visits, you took a couple visits at Texas. You actually visited Texas a couple times, right?
Yeah, I was a repeat offender at Texas. I can't lie, but they had ended up signing this dude named Gary. He was the number one JUCO linebacker in
Gary Johnson?
2017. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm a Horns fan, man. So that was crazy looking that up. I was like,
Okay,
bro, this
yeah.
dude went to UT camps. He visited a few times. What happened,
They
man? Why the fuck
they told me
it
they was
fell
gonna
through with Gary
offer me.
Johnson?
They told me they was gonna offer me if Gary didn't commit, and then Gary committed. So it was like, it's what
Okay.
it is.
Man, I would have been rooting for you. I'm a Horns. Because I forgot to tell you, I'm originally from Austin myself.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, so I lived there my first 8 years, 7 years, and
Okay,
I
yeah.
lived in Lake Travis area. So I picked up the Horns back in '07, '08. Been a fan ever since. So that's kind of
Okay, yeah.
crazy. Yeah, man. Dang. So how did you land upon Ole Miss? Out of state, not the biggest brand name in terms of college football. What made you go to Ole Miss?
I'm not gonna lie to you. A big part of it was just falling in love with it once I got there. And one of the coaches had told me when he came to Planet West to come visit me, he was like, "Look, if you don't want to come here, don't come on a visit. You're gonna fall in love." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like I've been to plenty of campuses. I've never like fell in love with somewhere on a visit. I just went and I fell in love. I was excited about it. I don't know. It's something about that campus and the feeling. It just makes you want to play for them. And also, a big part of it was me personally. I wanted to play in the SEC. I wanted to get a finance degree. That was like a reputable finance degree, and I wanted to try to get on the field as early as possible. And it also catered to those three things. And then it was just that feel. Once I got there, I was like, you know what? I think this is where I want to be.
Did you end up seeing the field a lot your first year?
First year, it was mainly special teams, and then that second year, I took that starting role and just rolled from there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that second year you popped off.
And I
You
was
were
crazy.
you were top five in the SEC in tackles. I
I was
was
mad
looking.
about that year. I was mad about that year. I was number three, and
Yes.
I was actually so it was me and Scooter was 1 and 2. Scooter
Okay.
Harris from
Yeah.
Arkansas, and he's actually my boy. We still train together. So it was me and him at 1 and 2, and Devin White. Devin White was three.
Yeah.
Man, neither one of us got bowl games. Devin White got a bowl game, and he passed all of us. And so it ended up being Devin White, Scooter, then me. But
Okay.
Devin White had an extra game. That's why he bumped up. So we were mad
I
about that.
I thought you were gonna say you were mad that you were snubbed off of the All SEC teams.
I understand it.
And I
With
saw
the
that.
with the older guys that they had at linebacker at other places that were like renowned names.
Yeah.
I don't hate the decision, but the one thing I did feel snubbed on was like they didn't give me the freshman All SEC or freshman All American or anything like that because I
Right.
played special teams. But like I never got a snap of defense,
On defense.
so I
So
felt like I should have been considered for that because like I was a freshman as a defender. I was just doing special teams my freshman year. So
right.
unfortunate, but is what it is.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, the SEC was stacked, man. Them I think who else was there? Mac Wilson and a whole bunch of
Uh-huh.
dudes, man. We're gonna get to that in a second, but you get to Ole Miss and you on, in hindsight, a really stacked team. AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Van Jefferson, Dawson Knox, even Shea Patterson at the time who was highly rated coming in. Talk about being around guys who are dogs and the guys who ended up, going to the next level and succeeding at a high level.
You know, that's an environment when you get thrown into, you sink or swim. You know what I mean? And there's no getting ready for it. Like 5 star from Texas, yeah, that's cool. That's cool and all. But like once you get there, you really find out who you are, and you
Mm,
either sink or you swim. There's no other option. So you get out there, and it's no longer high school. Everybody is a baller. I mean, there's dudes that are about to get signed to $1 million contracts, and it's like, and every day is a struggle for your right to be there. And
yeah.
it's a little bit different than that same struggle like in professional ball, but you never experienced anything like that before. So I would say it was a huge culture shock to me. But then my response to it was, "Here I come." You know what I mean?
You was
Like,
ready for it.
I promise I belong here, and I'm gonna show it to everybody here. So
Mm.
like once that mindset hit, I was good. But like you see it in some people, it never hits. It's like it's too much of a shock.
Do you think it's too much of a shock, or do you think there's just so many distractions at that level that can have them trip up to where they're not even focused on the things that they need to be doing in order to succeed and get better?
I mean, I can't discount that and say that's not the case for some people, but I'd say for most cases, it's just it's specifically the level of physicality. Like you see a lot of guys, um, they'll have to transfer out of the SEC and they'll go to another conference and be very successful and then have longer careers than guys that were in the SEC in
Mm.
the NFL. But it wasn't that they weren't capable of doing it. It's that bang bang every single week, every single day of practice, everything like that. It's a different style of football, and you got to be prepared for it. And some people like they're just not ready for that. They'd be more successful going to another place, and they'll still be able to go to the NFL and ball for a long time. It's not about whether or not they were good enough. It's whether or not they were up for that specific challenge, that physicality challenge.
So that SEC lore that everyone talks about, that's the real deal. Because you played in two conferences,
No,
you
yeah,
saw the difference, right?
yeah, that's real. That's
Oh,
real. Like
okay,
it's not like the SEC teams are just way better than the ACC teams. But it's just that as a level of physicality from somebody that played in both, the SEC is way more physical. But does that make you win games? Does that make you better? No. It'll make people tap out.
right.
But like it doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you win games. But it just so happens that the SEC is that physical conference and they have crazy players in there that are them guys.
Yeah, because I feel like you're gonna have talent anywhere you go. There's talent all over the country. I think it's the fact that the talent matches that the physicality matches that talent,
Right.
and you put two and two together, and it's what the SEC has come to be known as, over the past 15, 20 years or so. Um, what was your welcome to college moment, if you have one?
My welcome to college
It could
moment,
be on the field, off the field, anything.
I would say my welcome to college moment was definitely LSU 2017. And I'm on kickoff return. And this is the old school kickoff return where like you really got dudes coming back. Not the old school where they create a wedge, hold
The
arms and
wedge.
run, but like the old school where you still have big guys come back and they're like so they
And
put their linebackers at the 5 on that kickoff, the inside guys on kickoff, and then you got two linebackers that come back on the kickoff return. And
yeah,
basically they run at each other full speed and hit each other. So I had done that for a couple games, and this was like I want to say like early October, maybe late September. So it's like, but I'm playing special teams. I'm not really experiencing too much, and
right.
I come down to LSU. I lay that dude out, and I'm talking my stuff. I'm happy. He said, "I got you." I said, what are you gonna do to me? I just went against you." The next kickoff return we had, three of them all came running straight to me and hit me at the same time. And I was like, oh, okay.
You
Yeah,
felt
that's
that.
what we I was like, all right. Welcome
They
to this.
got you.
Nah, I mean, I stood 10 toes and like we dapped each other up after. We were like, hey, respect, because I stood my ground. I didn't like just get blown up or whatever. But like that was just that moment where it was like, oh, it gets spicy out here sometimes. You gotta be
Yeah,
ready.
you gotta come with it.
Gotta come correct.
Cause yeah. Cause if you go dish it out, you gotta get ready to take it too.
Exactly.
Um, how weird was the COVID year for you specifically? Take me into the mind of a player, a day-to-day life of a player during COVID, because that year was really weird.
That was a strange year. And that was a stressful year for me coming back. I had just I broke my leg. I broke my fibula, dislocated my ankle, tore a bunch of ligaments in there. So I had that repaired. And that was 2019. And then I was coming back from that. It was supposed to be like a 9 to 12 month recovery from that. And then right around month 6, they go, all right, everybody go home, COVID.
Mm,
And I'm like, what about my recovery? What about this? And it was a lot of freedom, but at the same time, it was kind of like a lot of fear. Like, what if I'm not getting the right rehab? What if I can't? What if I'm not able to do the right things to properly recover and come back to the best of my ability? Luckily, I had some resources here in Texas that I was able to utilize for training and rehab that I think really saved my career. Because I know there were some people in the country where COVID happened when they were hurt, they were never able to come back right. And when it didn't heal properly, they just never bounced back. But I was able to come back the right way. But once we got back in the summer, it was strange. Like we used to practicing all as a team. Now you got summer workouts. Guys are coming in. Like they have section blocks. They can't have more than like 30 people at the workout. You have to cover your face during all the workouts. And it was strange. All the meetings during Zoom but it was one of those moments where it was kind of like we've been there before almost. We had that culture shock when we came to college for the first time. And so this was just a new wrench, you know? It's like, okay, this is just the next thing we got to get used to. So, as strange and as weird as it was, I think everybody did a really cool job of embracing it um, and just going with the flow, which is very different than the guys that were in high school at that time. They'd
right.
never experienced a culture shock before, but anybody that goes to college has that culture shock. You kind of learn to, take things as they come.
So you kind of learned how to adapt to it based off of the previous culture shock from you coming from high school to college.
Right.
So that experience kind of helped you out in that transitioning period,
Exactly.
right? So I'm sure another person that kind of helped out with that transition period was Lane Kiffin. I'm pretty sure that was his first year in Oxford.
First year.
So tell me a little bit about Lane, man. As fans, we just see him having fun. He likes to talk to the media. He loves trolling people on Twitter, stuff like that, and he seems like a real easygoing guy. How is he from a player's perspective?
Lane is a character, man. Lane is a character. He's always gonna get the team to compete. He's gonna make it fun to compete. I think that was a big thing of when he got there. Like dudes just fell in love with competing again. Every single thing that we did in the building, period, was a competition. Didn't matter
Mm.
what it was. Um, he's gonna throw in little things to make it fun. Little like we're gonna enjoy what we do. We're gonna do it. We're gonna compete, and we're gonna enjoy it. Those were the three things that he brought that everybody just bought onto, and that's how we built that empire that you see now when you watch Ole Miss play. And one thing I'll give you that a lot of people probably don't have is Kiffin, the the fire extinguisher. Have you ever seen that?
Nah.
So like after touchdowns, they'll do and it'll pop up on TV from time to time, but they'll do like a fire extinguisher party at half field, like right at the 50-yard line on our end zone, on our sideline. There'll just be a bunch of dudes just partying with a
Oh,
fire
like the
extinguisher going
celebration.
crazy. Yeah, celebration.
Okay, I
And
have seen that before. I have seen that. Okay.
that all started from our competition periods in practice. And he gave Jonathan Hess, he was one of our tight ends, and he's a character. He's got the best personality ever. Kiffin was like, hey, go get a fire extinguisher, and we're going to score right here. And when we score, we're going to clown the defense by doing the fire extinguisher. And they did it, and we were really like, I mean, y'all lame for that, but at the same time, that was kind of hard. We should do that at game time. So they got it cleared with the SEC and everything, and then he started doing it after touchdowns, after like big momentum swinging touchdowns, like where you kind of take that breath away from the defense. He'll do that to throw a little, insult to injury, just get a little leg up on the opponent. But that's just the type of guy he is.
Talk to me about the. We already talked about the physicality of the SEC. Talk about the atmospheres, the stadiums, the crowds in the SEC, and what was the toughest place that you had to play?
Oh man, the atmosphere is top tiers, bar none, man. Um, Best place I ever played was Death Valley. Not the Clemson Death Valley,
The
the real Death Valley in the
real
boot.
Death Valley.
Now, no knock on Clemson because they are top five.
You played at Clemson too?
Yeah, I played at Clemson too.
Okay.
So they are top five for sure. But all I know is that 2018 game in Death Valley against Joe Burrow was phenomenal. That was the most insane atmosphere I've ever been in. Playing in away atmospheres is really, really cool on defense because you can, once you make a big play, you can, like this loud stadium, it's overwhelming. You can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And if you yell something, every fan will hear what you're yelling. It's like it's that responsive, and that responsiveness is so awesome. I would say LSU, Tennessee was crazy. Tennessee is a close second, but that they hate Kiffin, and that was Kiffin's first game back in Tennessee since he left. So it was extra rowdy, but that's all I know from there. So um, yeah, those would be my top two for sure.
Let's talk about it, man. You were on the field for the incident at Tennessee when they're throwing mustard bottles and golf balls and all type of everything onto the field. Y'all stop them at they come half a yard short, right? Like on the 4th and 20 some. Come up
Yeah.
half a yard short. Fans don't like it. They review it. They say, Ole Miss ball. They start throwing everything on the field. In that moment, what's going through your mind?
Well, the big moment for us was something that the fans didn't even get to see, right? So they started throwing stuff, and we're like, "This is crazy." We didn't realize they hated Kiffin this much. Like we kind of knew the story, but we didn't really know the story.
Yeah.
So we're just like, this is a little extra. Like we've been in some close games. Everybody's been in some crazy games, and like I don't see the point of throwing this stuff on the field. And then the first row fans start leaving. So the way Tennessee built, like it's like this, and it's just like a smooth bowl. And like them first section, they just say, forget it, and they leave because they know the game's over. But there's still some time left on the clock. We got to finish the game. And out of nowhere, you just start hearing banging like that. Like I just dropped like that's how much like it was like the stadium was shaking. And we
Yeah.
look up, all the fans are running, are sprinting down the seats towards the field. And when I tell you, you can be a tough guy all you want. When you see a stadium full of angry people that were just throwing literal bottles of urine at you, and you
What?
see them, some of the bottles they were throwing were full of urine. It's insane.
Wow.
And when you see them start running down towards the field, half the team was halfway towards the locker room. But then we
Yeah.
realized, oh, they were just coming to get the first row seats to watch the rest of the game. We're like, oh my god, I was
Hey,
gonna
you don't
start
want to
laughing
take
at
no
bro.
chances.
I was about to go. I was halfway to the locker room. I was like, what is this?
Because on the video, it shows that the officials are telling y'all to get off from the sideline and come towards the field because they're throwing stuff at y'all sideline and stuff
Yeah,
like
and
that.
so that happened while we're in the middle of the field waiting for them to like calm down. And they just finally calmed down. They're clearing stuff from the field. That's when that happened. I
Wow.
think I don't know if it was a TV timeout or something, but like nobody on TV saw it. But that was a moment I'll never forget. I was like, "Oh my god, they're finna storm the field."
How long was the delay?
It was probably like I want to say like 10 minutes,
Okay.
10, 15 minutes, which
It's,
is that's the halftime.
yeah. Y'all got to warm back up again and fire it up.
Nah, we just finished the game. It was
Just
over
finish
and
it.
it was so close. We were like, man, let's go, let's go, let's
Just
go.
get out of here.
But that's not the craziest delay I've had though.
What's the craziest one?
It was we played SIU, so it was
Okay.
one of the early season throwaway games. Like we're just collecting a win. We're beating this team by like 40 points. There's a rain delay, 4 hours, and their coach. It was 4 hour rain delay with I want to say like 6 minutes left in the game. We're up by like 30, 40 points, something ridiculous like that. And their coach is insisting upon finishing the game. Like the refs asked, like, do y'all want to call it? It's a clear win. Do you want to just let it go? The coach is like, no, we finish what we start. So we're sitting in the locker room for
Hey.
4 hours in a thunder tsunami type deal, waiting for this rain delay to end, and then we finish the game.
So it's already like, what is it already the fourth quarter?
Yeah, it was like 6 minutes left in the game. It was like more
Oh,
than halfway through the fourth quarter.
come on. Like, come on, coach. Let's just get out of here.
We got back on the field, and their players were like, "I don't know why we're here.
they
This is
didn't even want to be here.
no." Like everybody wanted to go home.
It's a pride thing with the coaches sometimes, man.
Yeah,
But going back to that incident at Tennessee, what did Lane Kiffin say to y'all about that? Did he have a react? What was his reaction to it?
you could tell he kind of liked it. He loves that chaos. You know
Really?
what I mean? Like, and it was so gratifying for him to beat them too, and in the midst of all of that. So that definitely made it more gratifying for him. Um, but I mean, we all enjoyed it. You know what I mean? It was kind of one of those things like we celebrated the win. I mean, getting that win was the most important thing, anyways, because that's the next game on the schedule. So like we went to the locker room, we celebrated it, and then we hit the flight home. So
I would be remiss if I didn't talk about one of the most fierce rivalries in college football, the Egg Bowl. How were your
that's
experience in the Egg Bowl, and take us into that rivalry and how intense it really gets?
I want to say up 3-2 on them, so I have a winning record.
There you go.
Winning record. We run the SIP. That's the first two things I'm going to start with.
That's it.
But But no, that's an awesome rivalry. It's one of those rivalries where like you don't even have to really understand the culture. Your first game playing in an egg bowl, you hate the other team.
Yeah.
You got boys on the other side, whatever. You don't even want to say hey to them after the game. We're enemies this whole week. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, and they just drill it into you the whole week that you step on the field, and it's like, I'm ready to go. I'm about to tear somebody's head off. And it's one of those rivalries where it's like it doesn't matter what somebody else is ranked, how good one of the other teams is, it's gonna be a good game.
Mm.
It's gonna be a crazy game. Something ridiculous is gonna happen.
Have you experienced anything crazy while y'all were on the road in Starkville?
As far as their like with their fans and anything, no, it's been nothing crazy. I think in my tenure there was a lot of like just respect of the game, so nothing crazy like that happened. But there was like some fights between the players and stuff. But at the same time,
Yeah.
like those same players may have seen each other like on spring break in Florida and were dapping each other up, hugging each other. Like it was never that deep, but in the moment it was that deep. You know what I
Oh
mean? It was
yeah.
one of those situations.
Speaking of situations, Elijah Moore. Tell me about the the celebration,
The piss and the miss.
the piss and the miss.
All right. So
Tell me about that,
the
man.
year before, DK Metcalf walk off home run, got in the dog position and pissed on their goalpost like a dog because of the Bulldogs. It was like a
Yes.
ha ha he he funny whatever. So before the game, DK told Elijah like, "Hey, hit my celly," and he was like, "All right, I got you." So just like the year before, he hit that celebration, took the 15-yard penalty, drained the field goal. No big deal, right?
Right.
No big deal. That wasn't the case this year. He missed the field goal, and we lost that game. So it was like, no way. But like, even when he did it and they threw the penalty, like all of us thought, oh, like Luke Logan was our kicker. We were like, Luke got this. Luke got
Y'all
this.
still felt good.
He had been battling injury. I think he had injured his hip flexor on his kicker leg, like in
Mm.
spring camp, and it just was a nagging injury, and that was a rough week for him. But I mean, he's a great kicker. He's a great person. No hate on him, but I'm still mad about that. I'm gonna mention it to him every time I see him.
How was that reaction, man, from Elijah, from the rest of the guys about some unfortunate like that? Because obviously the field goal still could have been good, and y'all would have went to overtime, and no one would have even been talking about this.
Right. Um, no, it's a lot of things that go into winning and losing a game. It's gonna come down to like a handful, like a 5 to 7 plays that
Right?
decide the game. So we're talking about one, right? One field goal. That was 1 point. There's a lot of other things that happened in that game that could have decided who won and lost. Um, so it's difficult from a fan perspective to like really get that, but it's like it's like playing Madden, right? You throw a pick six in the fourth quarter and you lose the game. But your team dropped 4 picks earlier in the game. You
Yeah.
could have won the game. So to say it was that one pick six is kind of crazy when there were so
Yeah.
many other plays in the game that you could have won on. It just so happened you didn't, and you missed that one too. So to say, oh, it's Elijah's fault, oh, it's Luke's fault, that's kind of blasphemy. You know what I mean? Like it was a long game, and a lot of guys had opportunities to make plays, and it's unfortunate that that was one of the last ones. But that
Yeah.
isn't the we don't none of us hold any grudges towards Elijah or Luke for that. It's football, man. This stuff happens.
And I wish more fans would have that mindset, but all they're gonna see is the last few plays of the game, the plays where the intensity's ramped up the most, right? And the suspense has been built up to where if shit goes wrong and their team loses, oh, it's that play specifically.
It's
It,
easy
it,
to do,
it
even as a player. It's easy to do, but you like after that 24-hour rule, which is like 24 hours. You don't say too much about the game the first 24 hours. You watch the film and you sleep on it. Then you start thinking like, okay, I watched the game again. There was this play. There was this play. Okay, I can feel. All right, I see what happened now. Like so. Also, a lot of that is that reflection time. Fans don't take that time to reflect and like go through the film and dissect the film again. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to have that retroactive clarity when you don't go back and rewatch the game. So I can understand it from the fans' perspective. They watched the game, that's what they saw, that's what they're mad about.
yeah. Um, Talking about the SEC being a gauntlet, you have played against Joe Burrow, Tua, Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Bo Nix, Bryce Young, um, Hendon Hooker. Give me your top five quarterbacks that you've played against in your career.
Top five.
And this is just based off of their college, you know, their college selves.
College selves top five. Oof. All right. Dang, that's tough. Let me just start listening. And don't ask me to order them. I'm just gonna put them out there.
Okay.
But definitely gotta go Hurts,
Mm.
Tua. Gotta give me Bryce too. Because in college he
And
was
Bama
legit.
boy is different.
Yeah, that was a stretch of quarterbacks for them. That
Crazy.
was crazy. Um, Hendon was actually a great quarterback.
He was.
Great quarterback. So put him in there. And then hmm. I've actually never got this question before. But
You got Joe, but you played him the year before he went off. You were injured that year
that's
where
what I'm
he went
saying. Like
crazy.
I'm just saying straight off, like the games I had with them,
Right.
And no disrespect on Joe,
No,
but
I believe
he
it.
hadn't had that UCF hit yet. You
Right.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That
And
hit
then
that woke him up.
yeah, and then in 2019, matter of fact, no, scratch that because I was at Ole Miss when he played him in 2019. I was hurt, so I wasn't a part of this.
But you
But
seen it.
the game when Jamar and Justin were doing the dancing, what people don't know
Yes.
is that
I
was
remember
all from one game,
the
the
meet
Ole
and the
Miss
dance.
game. That's how many times them two scored. Was they had a whole TikTok of them dancing. So I gotta, you know what? We'll just go back and put Joe at one because that's insane. Even though I didn't play that game because I was hurt, that's insane to have a whole video from one. That's yeah.
Crazy. So what goes into your decision after 5 years at Ole Miss to up and leave and transfer?
So a lot of respect to Kiff and to DJ Durkin, but at the same time, you know, so in 2020 it was me and Jacquez Jones. That was because like when I got hurt in 2019, Jacquez came in, played, had a great year. And so we had two really good linebackers. So we're like, all right, if we have two really good linebackers, we're gonna play two really good linebackers.
Right.
So we were just rotating back and forth at the mic, and Lakia was playing the will because we're mics and Lakia was a will, and we all balled out. And I think they were looking at the stats, and they're like, none of us got like me and Quez. Neither one of us got like SEC hat throw-ins, all SEC hat throw-ins, or anything like that. But if you combined our stats, oh, we're the best player in the country. But we're
Right.
splitting time at the same exact position. So they were
Mm.
like, all right, well, only one can play. Like, they were thinking, like, okay, if we can just have one guy get those stats, well, they'll get all the accolades, right? So then coach brings in uh, Cam Chancellor. No, why did I just say his name wrong? Cam,
Chancellor.
what's his name?
Linebacker?
Yeah, number 44. He's with the Tennessee Titans now.
Uh
Chance Campbell. That's what it is. Chance Campbell. And I said Cam Chancellor. I'm
Chancellor.
tripping.
Cam Chancellor.
Chance Campbell. So he brought in Chance Campbell, who
Okay,
was
yeah, Chance
in
Campbell.
DJ Durkin's system prior years, and he brought him with him to come his second year at Ole Miss to come to Ole Miss with him. And Quez had pulled me aside for that 2021 before the 2021 season, it's like in spring, and was like, "Bro, I'm gonna enter the portal, and you need to leave too." And I was like, "Why? Why would we do that?" And he was like, "Trust me, bro. I'm leaving, and I think you should leave too. I don't something in my gut don't feel right. Like we don't need to be here." And that was just such a. I was like, I can't do it. Like I love this place, right? So I ended up staying. Lakia almost left too. So like
Mm.
we all just had this gut feeling that we should have left, but like Quez was the only one that could go through with it. Like I couldn't leave. Well, what ended up happening was they wanted one guy to be the guy, right? They wanted those stats to be combined. And when coach tells him to choose, he chose Chance. DJ
Mm.
chose Chance. And no knock on Chance. Chance is a great player. If he wasn't, he would not be in the league, right? But at the same time, I felt snubbed. You know what I mean? And there was like positions where like this, right, wrong, or indifferent. I felt disrespected, and I never wanted anything like that to affect the game, right? So I'm like, look, got a lot of respect for you guys. I don't want to come back and be acting any sort of way. So even though like I knew that I wasn't gonna get the reps I wanted, I stayed. I finished the year. After the very last game, the next day I came in and I entered my name in the transfer portal. Out of respect, Kiffin came up to me and was like, "Hey, like for everything you did for this team, I'm sorry did not like I'm sorry I couldn't like give you what you wanted this season, and I wish you would stay, but I know you. I could tell your mind's made up. But why don't you just stay for the bowl game and experience this? Because we were going to the Sugar Bowl. He was like, you were a huge part of this. Like, you were still a captain through being in this situation. Come be with us. And so I did. I was grateful for that opportunity. I always appreciate him for that. That's why they say don't burn bridges, man. Because like
Right.
things don't go your way, things don't happen like they want to, but you handle things the right way, and it comes back. So I got to experience that. He even said like so that whole week, or the whole couple weeks for bowl prep when I was in the portal, he was like, "Man, if you got to miss practice to go take your visits, go take your visits. Don't even worry about it." And so like I took my visits or whatever. But yeah, that's what went into my decision to transfer. It was just like a like I didn't want to be hanging on to anything going into my last season of college football. I just wanted to be strictly football.
I forgot to mention about that 2021 Ole Miss team that really a really good team. Matt Corral at quarterback. What made that team better than the previous teams that you were on?
I would say, I would say honestly, that second year in Kiffin's season, like there wasn't much difference between that year and the previous year.
Mm,
You know, that the previous year, I think that's when we were ranked 12, and we went to play Indiana. That was like number 10. And I remember Indiana was big mad because we had the Outback Bowl, but Indiana thought that they should have been in the New Year's Six. So they felt
right. Yeah.
super snubbed. So well, I think we were like, we might not have been 12. We might have been like 13, 14. So we fell out of the New Year's Six. But they were like at a clear position. They were in the New Year's Six, and they did not get the bid for the New Year's Six. So they were real pissed about it. And then we went in there and we beat that team. That was that COVID year. But like, as far as like what was different, I think it was just that second year in that Kiffin program. Like, Kiffin knows how to win. Kiffin knows how to win. Kiffin knows how to put a team together that wants to compete and knows how to compete and goes out there and get what they want. So um, that's just what it was. That's what we did.
You move on to Louisville. You ended up leading the team in tackles. Talk to me about your experience at Louisville, man, and what was different from Ole Miss to Louisville.
So a big thing for me, um, my most successful season at Ole Miss was in 2018 when I had a linebacker coach that had played linebacker in the SEC, right? Knew what it take. Things he's telling me, I don't have to take things with a grain of salt. I take things as he says them because they're real. Um, John Summerall, he's now the head coach of Tulane, right?
Okay, he was your linebacker coach.
Linebacker coach, yeah. And so a big thing for me with deciding where I go next was I want a linebacker coach that's played in the NFL. That was that next thing for me. Like I want to really be a sponge in this last year and learn as much as I can. Like NIL was nowhere near anything what I was thinking. I just wanted to go where I had a coach that had been in the NFL, that had played in the NFL, played linebacker in the NFL. Right? I wanted to just truly learn for that year. And met Derek Nicholson at Louisville, and Brian Brown was our DC. And I went on my visit, and I'm kid you not, we spent 3 hours just breaking down and watching film.
Wow.
Just 3 hours watching football, which for a football visit is unheard of. You usually spend like 20 minutes looking at some film, and then you go on and do the other. I said, look, I really don't care about that stuff. I want to talk about football. And they said, bet. So they brought me in the office for 3 hours. We were just watching football, going over stuff, learning the defense, everything like that. And I was like, yeah, that's where I want to be.
Wow. So you felt it was a seamless fit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
What goes into being a really good linebacker? that fans probably don't see?
Um, I would say you got to really dedicate yourself to your craft um, in a very wide spread of areas, right? You have to be effective in coverage, effective in the run game, effective mentally to be in the right spots with film study and everything like that. But then that extra added layer, you just kind of have to be a little bit thrown off. You got to be a little bit thrown off to be a good linebacker, Jimmy. I'm trying to tell you. Every
What do you
good
mean by that?
linebacker, like, just a little, like, it's almost like a little screws loose a little bit. Like, if you talk to somebody else that has played with me or against me, they'll be like, yeah, something's wrong with Momo. He loves this game too much. I don't know what it is. Like, it's like I get out there and I just have way too much fun. And I don't know. I really love this game. It's like a flip gets switched. Some linebackers do the same thing, but they're angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some linebackers are just, like, have you ever heard the way Ray Lewis talks?
Oh yeah, I could tell.
You ever wonder why you haven't heard another person talk like that before? Because he's a little different. He's just
Yes.
a little different, and not everybody's looks voiced out like that. Some people are like the quiet Clark Kent type dudes, like Luke Kuechly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like little
that's
guys
a
with
dog though.
glasses and collared shirts, but then they get on that football field and they're freaking monsters. Like,
Yeah.
just the linebackers is gonna be a little bit thrown off. Like, I think DK Metcalf would have made a great linebacker if he wasn't a
He
receiver.
would he would have, huh?
He's got that, he's thrown off just enough. You know what I mean?
What makes DK and AJ and those guys so good, man? Besides the physical aspect, because we know they're top 1% even in the NFL when it comes to
Yeah.
physical. What makes them special?
I don't know. Maybe it's something in that water in Mississippi. I don't
they're
know. Nah, but
they're
honestly though,
both from Mississippi, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They're both
Can
like
yeah,
they're like from an hour and 30 minutes away from each other or something like
born
that.
and raised, yeah.
And they
Wow.
they they grew up going to camps with each other and stuff like that. They were both like one and two top receivers in Mississippi, competed all the time. But I think a lot of I think a lot of that could potentially have been, you know, that competition with each other, being the one and two, always competing with each other, then getting to Ole Miss, and you got two amazing receivers. You got to fight to get open before the other guy. It's not just
Yeah.
about getting open. You got to get open before that other guy. And it could be that, but at the same time, it could just be AJ and DK are just different. You know what I mean? But those guys, their work ethic and their dedication to the game and to getting better all the time and not being complacent is just different. They're one of those people, you can feel it when you're around them. Regardless, even though it may look different and how them two go about it, you can feel that exact thing when you're around them. So
And look at them now. They're in the same state once again.
once again, crazy.
Crazy. Did you have a chance to talk to AJ after that Super Bowl run?
No, I haven't. I haven't. I usually only see AJ and DK. I usually only see them back at Ole Miss whenever I go back for a game.
Okay.
Last time I went, AJ wasn't there, but DK was there. Chopped up with him for a little bit. Um, I really be to myself. I don't really reach out to people that often, but um, every time I see him, I ask them how they're doing. They say they're doing well, but I haven't got to see him since he became a champ. No.
Yeah. Couple more questions before we wrap this thing up. I really enjoyed this, man. I appreciate you. But going back to the linebackers, who are some of the linebackers you grew up watching and idolizing?
So getting into football late, you know, um, and then starting playing football and like really watching football late, it was initially Ray Lewis and Patrick Willis. Which
Mm.
until I went on my visit to Ole Miss, I didn't even know Patrick Willis went to Ole Miss, which was crazy.
Wow.
Um, and I got to talk to him a couple times and meet him a couple times. So it was really cool meeting a role model like that. But yeah, initially it was those two guys watching football, and then once Luke Kuechly came in the league, I was big on Luke Kuechly and his game and like just the intellectual awareness of the type of linebacker he was. Like, yeah, freakish guy athletically, but his intellect is what set him apart. And I thought that was so cool. And I wanted to be a linebacker like that. So that's what I strove to be.
You know what? Let's build the perfect linebacker. We gonna have coverage skills. We gonna have speed. We gonna have IQ. We gonna have ball skills. What else should we throw in there? What else does a linebacker need?
All right. Let's say linebacker needs taking on blocks. Like so let's break it down into
Physicality.
like yeah. So let's do physicality.
Okay.
Let's do, and when we go coverage, we'll throw ball skills in there too, right?
Okay.
Uh, Intellect and leadership, like
Ah. Okay.
leading the defense, right? Getting everybody lined up, everybody set, ready to go. Let's do those four things, and if we're doing those four things, I'll say, give me that leadership of Ray.
Okay.
Give me the intellect, that football IQ of Luke.
Mm.
Give me the physicality of actually no. First, give me no. Let's do physical. Give me the physicality of Landon Roberts. I want you
Okay.
to, after you get done here, watch film of him taking on blocks. Give me Landon Roberts physicality. Um, and then coverage. Who's the best coverage linebacker I know?
Luke was good, but he
Luke
was
was good,
good.
but I took him in that intellect already.
Yeah.
But that intellect goes into a lot of the different categories. But yeah, if you're in the right place at the right time, you're just gonna get there. But I would say, give me Shaq Leonard. He's got.
Okay.
Actually, no. I take that back. I take that back.
Coverage. Who can get out there? Who can go cover, man?
Who can
Who
go?
can run?
Who can? Yeah, but you go who can run. That doesn't necessarily mean you can cover.
Yeah. True.
But you know what? You know what? I like the spatial awareness of Fred Warner. Give me Fred Warner in the coverage.
Okay. I like that.
So yeah, you put those together like that, and then give me the body frame and size of Leighton Vander Esch.
You want the neck
Right?
pad too?
Yeah, go ahead, throw the neck pad on there,
Neck
but then
pad.
give me the speed, like the speed attributes of Ryan Shazier.
Okay. Man,
That's
he
the
was
package.
special.
That's the package right there. That's the package right there.
He was special.
Special.
Yes. Man. Too bad we couldn't got to see the full prime of him. But what's next up for Momo Sanogo? What's the goal moving forward? What are you envisioning moving forward?
You know, right now I'm taking it step by step, day by day. My goal moving forward is to be an all UFL linebacker. So then I can bridge that and use that to, you know, project myself into the NFL, get an opportunity, whether the opportunity looks like a workout, a camp invite, a contract, whatever it may be, and just take it in stride. Continue to chase my dream of, you know, dressing up for an NFL team on a Sunday. Um, haven't had the opportunity yet. I think I belong there, but you know, I got to go get that opportunity wherever it may be. So that's what's next for me, man. Going, taking everything step by step, day by day, so I can get that NFL contract.
If you could leave, last question, if you could leave one word of advice for future upcoming linebackers, whether it be high school, college, what would be your tip of advice for them?
Head down. Keep your head down. There's a lot of distractions with this social media stuff. There's a lot of comparison is the thief of joy. I heard that quote. I wish I could quote who said that. But unfortunately, I can't give credit to that person. I can't think of who it was. But comparison is the thief of joy. Don't let other people's journey dictate your journey. And it's okay that your journey, regardless of where your journey ends, just know as long as you put forth all the effort, energy, everything that you could towards this goal, the rest you just leave in God's hands. You do all the work, and if it's meant to be, it will be. If you do all the work and it's meant to be, I promise you it will be. And if it's not meant to be, you've learned a lot of lessons along the way that will help you in life regardless.
I
So
like.
just put your head down and you go step by step in front of you towards your goal, and remember to enjoy the process.
I heard a quote from Shannon Sharp. He says, "Hard work doesn't guarantee you anything, but without it, you don't even stand a chance."
You don't stand a chance. You literally don't stand a chance.
Momo, thank you for stopping by and talking a little bit with me about your career, your experience so far. I greatly appreciate it for sure. Um, y'all go follow Momo, keep up with his story and everything like that. Great people for sure, man. And other than that, this is CFB Enthusiasts. Y'all make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, comment down below. And other than that, I'm out. Peace.